Welcome everyone to the Goddess Temple. My name is Chris, and for today's video, I'm being called for this full moon in Aquarius. This full moon in Aquarius, for you to truthfully step further into what you have been afraid to look at. During this phase, you're being asked to look at, to illuminate, right? To bring to light, to bring to the forefront this truthful understanding of independence, every sense of independence, every sense of autonomy in your day-to-day, in your work as well. And with that, community and connection and authentic self-expression. And so all of these parts, all of these layers they have an interchange of playfulness between it all. And so the whole concept of it is understanding how you stand firmly within yourself and to align to connections, situations, and to be understanding of your core values, and to show up in that manner, to show up in a way where you're not abandoning yourself, and that you are actively aligning with people, situations, environments that are in alignment and congruent to you. And the ones that aren't, the aspects, the stories, the ways of living, the ways of experiencing, all of those other little parts that just, there's something that's just off for you to understand how to approach it, and to approach it with a little bit of gentleness, just because right now everything is a bit more on a logical sense. So things can also be sharp with your tongue. You can also be quite a little too direct with addressing a situation. It's just asking you to take a little bit of a step back and to just bring out what this is, to become aware of everything that's playing around, everything that's been playing around in the background. Right now it's coming up and it's being more illuminated, more out there, more available to be dissected, to be just looked at. Okay, and why am I saying specifically looked at is because this time isn't for you to be practicing something new, but it's to maintain what you have been practicing, to maintain what you said you would be practicing. And it's giving you an opportunity right now. Everything, the way it's coming up, everything is giving you an opportunity to move through it differently, to not be taken on the journey of it because it's just unknown of what the journey looks like, but to slow your pace and to allow for what's coming up to the forefront, to let it be, to let it illuminate, to let it shine its light. So when you give it that space, it gives you more room to actually look at what's coming through, why it's coming through, for whatever reason it is. And the thing is, just be a little bit discerning, because not every little detail you need to know about, you need to understand why and how and all of that. So if it's feeling a little bit overwhelming looking at all of this, just truthfully give yourself a little bit of space and slow down your pace and ground yourself. Grounding food, easeful, calm music, a calm environment, being in nature, having cinnamon, right? Whether it be smelling it or, of course, not actual cinnamon, but like a cinnamon oil, or a having a sweet dessert that has cinnamon in it, right? Because why specifically cinnamon is because it calms down your nervous system, especially when your mind is just running a million miles an hour. Your physiological body is reacting to it. And so just to slow down the pace of that so you can understand what's actively happening and how you can approach it, and not to abandon yourself, but to take care and nurture yourself the best way that you need to. At this time specifically, you're being asked to, well, it's not like you're being asked, but you yourself are wanting to be recognized for the work that you're doing, for how you're showing up, for how attentive you are in your family, in your friends, in your work environment, in your community, and to truthfully just bring that all up, to allow yourself to shine in the best way, for you to know that, you know what, I am going down a path that's supportive and reflective and reciprocal of what I'm bringing out, what I'm putting in. And another little part that's coming through is your ability to reflect how you may not be showing up authentically. What do I mean by that? There might be some type of a societal norm, a societal imprint that just tells you, you know what, you shouldn't be this way. You shouldn't do this thing. This is not ideal, or you're not being supportive to the community. You know, people like to throw that around, right? Especially if it's something that makes them uncomfortable, and maybe you may have even done that. And the thing is, right now, you're being asked to look at that, because whatever you've been holding yourself up to, that you have to be a certain way, that your relationships have to be a certain way, that you have to put on this face, that you have to look, feel, embody yourself a certain way, and you realize that, you know what, that ain't okay. That way of being, this way of existing, this way of living is not in alignment to me. If anything, it brings me more distress and more chaos, and it just does not make sense for me, right? And so you're learning how to incorporate this almost, this isn't going to apply to everyone, this choice of words I'm going to be using, but take it in the way that it resonates, apply in different words that just, it might make better sense for you. And so this little rebellious part of you is coming out. And just be a bit cautious, because of the fact that you're pushing against something. It's going to bring out a part of you that's a bit more abrasive, that's going to have someone be like, wait, what did I do wrong? Like, why are you being so aggressive with me? For you, it might be that you're like fed up and you're acting out. That's not the right word. And you're not acting out, but you're fed up, and it's just that emotion is coming up, and it's just so abrasive. And you're like, wait, why did I just do that? Why was I so upfront and loud and in someone's face like that? I didn't need to go to that extent. I didn't need to show up like that. And so you're slowing down a little bit, just a wee bit. And you're noticing, wait, okay, fine. Let me slow this down, because I don't like how I showed up. There has to be a better and a different way to approach it, where I don't lash out, and where I'm a bit more gentle, a bit more receptive, and still be able to communicate and express my needs and desires in this dynamic. And that it's okay for me to play with something that's just not conventional, that's not taught to be conventional. But at the same time, it's between you and this person, or you and this collective, and you can exist and live in peace, and that there is a way to do things harmoniously. But it's just about you slowing down enough, giving that space so you can see it and create it. Okay? So that intuition can kick in for you to see it, and it can illuminate further more of your authentic expression, and for people to be a bit more receptive to that. Even the ones that will not make the same choices as you make, but they're like, you know what? That's fine. I can still coexist with you. I totally understand where you're coming from and why you would choose what you're choosing. And they're a bit more receptive, more accommodating, more open to having these open-ended conversations with you. That type of a dynamic, that type of a societal environment, that type of a collective communal environment is so deeply nourishing and healthy. To not rip and tear down anyone, but just be like, hey, I'm here to lift you up. I'm here to see you through and walk you through down your path and support you in the best way possible. Support you in the way that you are available to show up in. And just as much as you extend that courtesy out to others, you always wondered if others would extend that to you. And let me tell you this right now. This video, this right here, is confirming to you that yes, there is a possibility, not just a possibility, but there are people that are far more receptive to what you have to say, what you have to communicate, and that it's okay for you to show up. For you to show up authentically, for you to express it, for you to embody your most truest, well-formed self, highest enlightened self, for you to still show up. That yes, you will be met by friction, but then you also have community to fall back on, to support you, just as much as you support them too. You are ready and available for a co-collaborative community that grows and raises not only adults, but like also children, that builds better community, better systems for even elders to move in, right? The elders that didn't have the courtesy to extend the grace towards you, you're doing that for them. You're choosing, you're making different choices than what others have made in your life. And you're learning to do it gracefully. You're learning to show up gracefully. You're learning to show up with a little bit more love, with a little bit more heart, with a little bit more presence. You're actively showing up in the best way possible. Continue to build and grow and move in this way, because your authenticity, this right here, is going to pave the way not only for you, but also for people that are looking for that example, that inspiration, that motivation, that reminder. Okay? So step into further more of your light, right? With this full moon, it's more of your light, and you're being a little bit more diligent with how you're stepping in, with the choices you're making, with acknowledgement, and to do it gracefully, to actually give yourself the space to think, to not just see only one perspective, but to see many perspectives. It's more of a free flow, because it's Aquarius, it's more of a, yes, it's the air sign, but there's more of a water alchemy. So it's more of a mind alchemy that you're doing, that you're playing with. And it's not just you, but you're also tapping into a different type of a hive mind, a different perspective in the hive mind. You're tapping into a higher frequency, right? And this is what's coming through right now. So truthfully lean into that, and you'll see the way that this is going to help you grow and further root yourself. You are also recognizing that these conversations that you're having, that these edges that you're pushing into, that these little almost controversial type of dialogues, that everyone is respecting everyone, that there's a possibility for you to have a healthy debate, an ethical, morally ethical debate, conversation without ripping, tearing down, putting down someone and saying, you know, this is bad, this is not right. None of that. It's more of respecting everyone and their boundaries, and when something has been crossed, for not them to also react, but also not for you to react in that situation, and for it to be a bit more like, oh wait, I genuinely, I'm sorry that I didn't realize and didn't have the wherewithal to understand that this could be a boundary for someone. And so you guys are learning how to authentically step into a dynamic, into a situation without feeling like you are fighting, without that friction, right? You're learning how to have healthier dialogues, to even address certain situations, to even have certain verbal cues, and for you all to recognize these verbal cues, right? And to also recognize and be attentive with physiological cues as well too, right? So with physical expressions, with little twitches, you're just noticing each other. You're not dismissing anyone. No one is dismissing anyone, but just genuinely conversing at this time, and just you're noticing that, wait, it's possible to have healthy conversations. They don't have to be all hidden. And if someone is a bit more shy, for it to be like, okay, yeah, I do want to hear more, but it's like you're also saying, you know what, it's okay. I completely understand where you're coming from. I understand that it can be a bit uncomfortable to address, and for you to be a bit more compassionate, whether you have experienced what they have experienced or not, for you to just allow someone to move through their emotional journey without forcing them to already be where you want them to be, right? At this very moment, you are being a bit more selective with how you address and how you bring forward certain interests that you have, certain dialogues, certain situations, and you're addressing the life that you're breathing in differently. You're addressing it in a way that it's a bit more open and receptive to the way that life is moving. Being a bit more objective with your perspective, and just even intentionally addressing the fact that you want to approach it differently, that you do want to be ethical as much as possible, that yes, you will be pushing someone's boundaries, but to not cause harm in a way where it hinders someone's free will and takes away their basic needs, or affects their basic needs. These are the two things. Now, anything other than, okay, or causing harm, physical or emotional, mental harm. So without these three things, if it isn't any, like, as long as these basic things are not being affected in someone, then it's ethical. And that ethical approach, okay, and why is this an ethical approach? It's more of a psycho-spiritual ethical approach. It's a, what is it? It's one of the basic laws. It's the few of the basic laws of how to create, right? And it's whether you are to move through a certain situation, that's secondary, but you will be taken out of a situation, especially when these three things are being played with. And if these three things are being played with, that's also mainly because your mind is tuned to it and plugged into it, right? I know that's a bit direct in the way that I just expressed that, but to be a bit more discerning of how you're approaching your life, and for you to know that just because it's the full moon, it's to address the fact that you have more power over your life than you think. Not everything in your life is determined and dictated by rules around you. There is such thing as free will. And if you are causing harm to someone as you're moving through whatever you're moving through, that person will be taken out of your space. Just so there will no longer be any more harm being caused to them and to yourself. Right? So the direction that your soul is moving towards is to ensure that you move through your day-to-day in a healthy manner, where it addresses everything that it needs to be addressed, and for you to be more discerning of what your current environment is and how you move in it. You are also learning how to redirect your mind in the way that it addresses certain situations, that you're not further causing issues in a certain situation. So further implementing different, like, what is it? You're being asked to redirect the way that you focus on harm, that you focus on evil that is happening in this world, in your environment, in your community. And for you to be more of the solution in that space, rather than the one that just only speaks up and says, hey, why aren't you doing this? It's no longer you pointing fingers and saying, this is right, this is wrong. And for you to be a bystander, but for you to step in with a bit more action, a bit more solution oriented, and to find different perspectives of how to approach something, and to allow yourself to shine through, and to also allow for others to shine through. So you are leading by example at this time. Secondly, and because you're being a way shower, because you're being a way shower, you're also seeing how you are moving with, I'm trying my best to focus. My energy is just going all over the place. But, so as I was saying, you're being asked to as you're being the way shower, okay? You're operating from your own highest good, okay? So because you're operating from your own highest good, the people around you, they're wanting you to explain yourself, to explain why they have become a second-class citizen in your life. But the thing is, you have been a second-class citizen in their life. You have done all the right things. And because you've done all the right things, it's landed you where you are right now. And it's caused you more harm and distress than it has given you life and light and love, right? And so stepping in with this, you're not taking out your anger onto them, but you're gracefully showing up and letting them know, hey, I am going to approach it differently. I am going to provide a different solution because I've had a firsthand experience in the harm that this way of thinking, behaving has caused. And I want to provide support and help for others so they don't have to experience this way, or they can be guided and helped so they can find a way for them to move through it in a way that supports them and that allows them to thrive. So not only have you learned how to thrive, but you're showing others how they can do it too. through example, through living, through embodiment. And so at this time, you could be experiencing a lot of intense friction, a lot of intense life just happening, a lot of intense dialogues, and people are maybe even wanting to have a instant solution. You may even want to have an instant solution. But at this time, the focus being just the fact to illuminate the space, to show what the situation is, to show what you are actively working with, more of the emotional state, more of the back end subconscious dialogues and scripts that are playing out. That's what's being highlighted so it can be moved through differently and to find a solution. And the thing is, just remember that you're not doing this alone, that you have community with you. And community is always there, but it's for you to also extend and meet them there. For you to meet them there mutually and to move through it in that manner, right? The more you keep moving through these little dialogues, these little places of play, right? It's movement, it's breathing, it's community, it's building intentional relationships. You're diving through these dialogues and alchemizing through them all, right? You're dancing with life. You're dancing with your shadows. You're doing it gently and gracefully. So be a bit more slower with the way that you're moving through everything. It can be a bit disorienting and a bit chaotic at this time. But just, it's uncomfortable when something is being illuminated, when something is coming to light. And so just slowing down, going back to your basics, reaching out to your community, asking them, hey, can you help me out here? Or, you know what, I need a little distraction. I have been wallowing in this thing and I don't know what the solution is. I just want to time a few hours so I don't have to think about it. And there's people that are more than happy to give you that, because one, you're there too. You're doing that too. You're not the only one that's doing that for others. No, others do that for you too. So you're learning how to play with reciprocal energy, and you're learning how you want your community to be, what that looks like. And you're meeting yourself. You're meeting your community. You're meeting yourself. Right? It's this interchangeable play that you have with life. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun that you're learning how to move through life, to move through your current situation, your current place, for you to know that you don't have to put yourself second, that you can be in this light, that you can exist. And it doesn't have to be loud where it calls on every single attention. No. It's so subtle, and yet it's so bright. Even the most, like, when you're so aligned in this space, no evil, no malintent person can come into your space. They won't even look your way, because that's how much you have brought to light this part of yourself that you have put away. The part of yourself that you had said, you know what, it's not worth it. All of that is BS. And you have found your own internal strength to continue to move forward, to be firm in who you are and what you're creating, and the community and the world that you want to live in. And at the same time, you're doing it in such a way that you don't put down anyone, but you build people up. So with that, I feel like the message is complete there. And I hope that in this full moon in Aquarius, that you guys find some clarity, some solace, a little bit of direction towards where you're going, and for your path to be the most brightest that it possibly can be, especially in the darkest places. And so with that little bit, I wish you guys all the best, and I will speak to you soon.